All right, let's take a look at your small space exercise. So I was just reading your comments about the start line stay, and I'm so excited that that is working for you. Breaking early, though, we also don't want that because it may start off as breaking early, but what it's going to lead to is confusion on your dog's part as to what the rules are. So I think my answer to that, to breaking early, is kind of the same as it would be if they were stuck, and that is consistency and clarity. And so being consistent with what you allow. And what that means is that if your dog breaks early, that's a failed repetition. And you don't have to correct it, but I probably wouldn't go on. And I would also keep your rate high on start lines. So you might actually will reward 2 or 3 start lines at various points. So you sit your dog, you take 1 step, throw a reward. You sit your dog again, you take 3 steps, pause, throw a reward. You sit your dog again, you jog out and release your dog as you're jogging and throw the reward over here. And you set the dog out and you lead out and you do the sequence. And, incorporating that like multiple start lines into everything that you do is really going to help you maintain that behavior and maintain it in a way where they're not getting stuck and they're not breaking. And a lot of times you will see us do a start from a cone, right? Because we don't have the time at that moment to do what we think is appropriate start line training, which is just what I said, multiple start line rewards, only a portion of which actually involve running the sequence. And so you might also consider that if you have a cone, that way you don't always have to ask for the start line stay and then have to expect for them to hold it or deal with the consequence of them breaking. And so you can send your dog, if you can start kind of halfway in between, send your dog this way while you go that way. By the time they come around, you're up here ready for your front cross. All right, so now let's look at the actual sequence. I would call this front cross a little bit late, and I think that you're over babying your dog by being so far in this direction. I would say that if we look at this front cross line, let's say you were even kind of right next to this wing, but facing this way, looking over this shoulder, that should be enough support for the jump for the vast majority of dogs. And then you can actually work up to the point where you can be more and more and more lateral and your dog still commits to this jump. But I would say that this is like super babying, and even being like right next to the jump is somewhat babying. And so I think you could easily be here and you would still be babying your dog quite a bit. That saves you 3 or 4 feet, and that puts you in better position timing wise. Like if you look, your dog doesn't even come to this side of your body. Your dog immediately comes this way, and you start behind your dog at this point. And now you're kind of having to push into your dog as opposed to leading your dog to the number 2 jump. Great threadle response. Beautiful. The front cross there looks good. It's a little bit hard for me to see like the exact footwork here, but I think it looks pretty good here. It looks like you got into and out of the front cross very well. So again, same thing. You don't need to be over here. At worst, basically, you need to be on this side of the yellow line, and the more that way you can, the better. And then that you would have gotten to the front cross. You can see as he takes off here, you're still running in this direction. So you're not giving him very good cues for the fact that he's going to essentially do a rat behavior here. And that's going to make that turn a little bit wider. He does have pretty instant response. He can turn on a dime. So he's kind of saving you in a lot of spots, but you're not giving him very clear information. And you're basically lucky that you have a dog that is so driven that his response to a lack of information is to guess, but he's always going to go full out. There are a lot of dogs that in the absence of information would slow down. So like maybe your next dog you get, and if you give them the same information, they end up going slower and slower and slower. Essentially, they are giving you time to give them better information. This dog just happens to be personality-wise the kind of dog that is like, I'm not sure, but whatever I do, I'm doing it fast. So he is spoiling you a little bit, and let's work on giving him better information so he doesn't have to do any guessing. This part was beautiful. So basically, once you got him here, you got a beautiful, nice turn. I think this is great that you're able to do the full post turn. I think that's what you're doing here. I don't think you ever blind. And that's a great thing to be able to do. A lot of people struggle with it. And that, a lot of times the starting the turn and then blinding is a more popular option, but having the ability to turn and have your dog be able to turn with you is great. All right, great job.